Your cybersecurity solution is here. Introducing Pentester's Advanced Cybersecurity Suite. Ready for peace of mind? Try it for free. No credit card required. Pentester.com.
Do you think Jimmy Brown knew about the car bomb that killed Frankie? Was supposed to? I don't think so. I don't believe he did. I mean, that was the Genovese thing from what I understand, and the Lucchese thing. Another guy, Naz, 322, says, you're a clown. Thank you, Naz. Right back at you. Kansas City, Baltimore. I just went to 4.5. I just checked before I went on the air on my Hard Rock Bet app, because betting's legal now, but I went to prison for it. But that's the story. I got a little bit of a resentment. I don't know what that is, but yeah, I have been in the news many, many times for not good things, unfortunately. Hello, everyone. I want to thank everyone out there. This is Anthony Ruggiano Jr. going live on Informed Gangsters. I want to thank everyone, the subscribers. I'm coming up on 28,000. I should have it sometime today. And I want to thank all you Patreon members. Please keep joining my Patreon. It helps with the content. And I'm going to bring it to you, truthful and live as much as I can. I got a bunch of questions here that I'm going to get to. Also, the store is up. I have some new merch. The link is up. I have some new hats. As you see, I got one on. I'm modeling it. I don't know how good it looks on me, but it's a nice fit. And I have some shirts and some mugs and some Fat Andy t-shirts and some Reformed Gangster t-shirts. So check it out. You may like some stuff. It's at a reasonable price, and it helps support the show. So I got some questions here. One of them is about Joe Watts. I always thought there was something funny about Joe Watts being known as the German when Watts is an English name. Does he have German ancestry? I believe he does. That's why they called him the German. I think his family is originally from Germany, but don't quote me on that, but I believe that's true. Do you think Jimmy Brown knew about the car bomb that killed Frankie? Was supposed to? I don't think so. I don't believe he did. I mean, that was the Genovese thing from what I understand, and the Lucchese thing. I mean, if John had any feelings that Jimmy Brown was in on that, he would have went. Sammy and John would have went. There's no doubt about that. If they knew anybody in their family was involved in killing Frankie the Chico, they would have probably got hit. They would have went. Do you know Sally Bugs? I guess if you're talking about Sally Puglisi, of course I know him. I know him since I'm a little kid. He was on Get Gotti with me, but I know him from Ozone Park. He lived up the street from me for many, many, many years on 88th Street. Geez, Anthony, you forgot who was the underboss from Chicago in that meeting. That's an unbelievable story. You don't have the name. I don't have the name. I mean, you're talking about that was in the 60s. My father must have told me the name many, many, many years ago, but unfortunately, I don't remember the name. I'm sure I could find out who it was. So another person wants me to make an episode on Handsome Jack. He was his great uncle. He was in a wheelchair most of his life after he got shot in the back. I knew, it says, did you know him? I knew him very well. We always got along. As a matter of fact, when I had that beef with Dom DeSiela, I believe they were related in some way. They were cousins, and he was involved in the discussion at the Raven Night when I had explained the situation to Neil. Neil actually sent for Jack to come there to tell him about Dom DeSiela. So I could do an episode on him for sure. He was a good guy. I liked him. How are these captains? How's the environment in the room? Cold, warm? Do they have good personalities? Intelligent, funny, charismatic, likable, stiff? So that's the picture that I showed up of all the captains the other day with Paul Castellano, with Frankie Dapp and Tommy Gambino and Joe Butch and all of them. I don't know how the temperature was in that room, but I'm sure it was comfortable. Talking about a lot of power there, a lot of money, for sure. Anthony, please tell us why couldn't Neil tell the Chicago underboss that Fat Andy is my equal? Why was Neil so pressured or influenced by the Chicago underboss about Fat Andy's joking around? Weren't they all having drinks and having fun, eating, smoking, and girls together? Thanks from Los Angeles. There was alcohol involved, egos. He was the underboss. Neil was an underboss, and I guess, he tried to embarrass Neil. I don't know, but I know that it was not a good situation. It could have turned out really to be a really very, very bad situation. But thank God it all got ironed out. But my father always said that Neil never forgot that night. From Adam Rogers. Salute, Anthony. How are you today? I'm good, thank you. I just got back from New York. I've been doing a lot of traveling. In January, I was in LA. I did a couple of shows in LA. I was in Tampa. I was in New York. I was somewhere else too. I actually forgot where else I was, but I've been traveling. I've been traveling so much, and now February's coming up. I'm going back to Arizona to do a show with Sammy and my cousin Gene. I'm looking forward to that, and then I'm going to Tulsa, Arizona, to do a show, and so I'm looking forward to that. So it's getting real busy, real good. Good people I'm getting involved with. Everything's moving forward. Scott K. Hello, sir. Enjoying your channel. Thank you, Scott. Smile 9. Hello, Smile 9. Tookie, yo, Tookie. Another guy, Naz 322 says, you're a clown. Thank you, Naz. Right back at you. We take all the good and bad comments here. We answer everybody, as long as it's not abusive or nasty or dirty or degenerates. You want to call me a clown, that's fine. That's your opinion, but I'm sure it takes one to know one. From Jared Hud, I definitely want the Fat Andy shirt. That's it, my man Jared. Order away, the link's up. I believe they're $29.99. So let's go. Eric Epstein, who do you like in the NFL tomorrow? All the money is going on. The line just went up a half a point on the Kansas City, Baltimore. It just went to 4.5. I just checked before I went on the air on my Hard Rock Bet app, because betting's legal now, but I went to prison for it. But that's the story. I got a little bit of a resentment. I like Kansas City plus 4.5. The other game, the line's been 7. It's been steady at 7, so I guess they get money both ways. Smart money tells me to bet, the 49ers, and I like the 49ers. I love McCaffrey. I think he's great. I want to see him get to a Super Bowl. He's an amazing football player. But, I lived in Michigan. I lived right outside of Detroit for years. It's a great sports city. I have great friends in Detroit that are diehard Lion fans their whole lives. They never, ever saw the Lions in a Super Bowl. So I'm going to root for the Lions because of my friends, and because Detroit is a great sports city. They really support their teams there. I went to a ton of Tiger games, and I went to Lion games on Thanksgiving. I went to Red Wing games. I even went to a few Piston games, even though they sucked. But they're a great sports town. Anthony DeMello, did you know Donnie Boy from City Line? Yeah, I knew Donnie Boy. Very well. I knew Donnie Boy. I knew his family. I knew his father. If it's the same Donnie Boy we're talking about, I knew all of them. Hey, Anthony Ruggiano, have you ever made it in the news? Have I ever made it in the news? 89XSMXYTXI. I don't know what that is, but yeah, I have been in the news many, many times for not good things, unfortunately. Adam Rogers just made a donation. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Any thoughts on Sal or the Montreal Rizzutos? That's a good question. I didn't know much about them. I always knew they were hooked up with the Bonanno family. I always knew they were heavily into heroin, but I never really knew about their attachments with the Hells Angels until I was in federal prison. I was in Schuylkill Federal Prison, and I actually met a Montreal Hells Angel guy named Mike. Very clean-cut guy. You would never think he was a Hells Angel. Like, they're very clean-cut. They didn't take drugs. He was very educated, very intelligent, worked a ton of money. And we used to work out together on it. He actually taught me how to work out. He was great in the gym. He owned a gym up in Montreal. And I spent a lot of time when we were in the same unit. He ate with us, and he told me how hooked up the Hell's Angels was hooked up with the Rizzutos in the heroin trade. Like they made peace. They were at war, and then they made peace, and they made a ton of money together. Stevie Zane, what was the luncheonette by the Bergen used to go to? Yeah, there was a luncheonette right across the street. As a matter of fact, it's still there. I was there yesterday. I filmed right outside of it, and that's the only thing that's still standing from back in the day is that luncheonette. Coop, what was Fat Andy's position? Was he ever a captain? If not, did he want to be? He always wanted to be a captain. He was an official captain at the end of his life, but he got respected as a captain. He sat down as a captain. So I hope that answers that question. Francesco, who was more feared in the streets, Casso, Sammy, or A-Light? You know, Casso was vicious. I think Sammy, A-Light doesn't belong in that sentence. I mean, he was, not to slight A-Light, but he doesn't belong in that sentence. People feared him, people feared a lot of people, but they were on a different level, Sammy and in the street. Casso, I would say Casso was more feared, not because he was scarier. He was a vicious, violent, he'll kill you for no reason. He killed people because he owed them money. I mean, he was just a piece of shit. Sammy killed people. It was business with Sammy. Casso killed the guy because a carpenter, because he didn't want to pay the guy. And, so Michael Hershey. Hello, Anthony. Hello, Mike. How you doing? Jack Hume, Hume. What got you to do blow? The times, it was 72, 19, in the 70s. I was, my father was in the music business, it was the atmosphere. I'm in Puerto Rico, I'm partying with this rock group. I walk in the room one night, they're blowing coke. I'm a kid, I'm 19. They asked me if I want some. I said yes. I did a couple of lines and I liked it. I liked it. And I got back to New York. There was the discos, Studio 54 and everything, the Ritz, and everybody was blowing coke, and I got caught up in that. Scott K, have you ever been through the steps? Did you struggle with the 9th step, considering how much you've been through in your life and all the people you've encountered? Most definitely. I've been through the steps many, many, many times on my own with my sponsor. I've been through the steps with my sponsees. The steps were very emotional in the beginning. The 9th step, making amends, I have made amends to people throughout the years. And I have a lot of faceless victims that I can't make an amends to. So what I do is I'll donate money to charity. I'll help people, I try to give it away in other ways to make amends to the faceless victims. I mean, we stole thousands of cars. We banged out thousands of credit cards. I can't make amends to those people. Yeah, I've been making amends for a long time, but I have gone through the steps many, many times. It's an ongoing process. Anybody in recovery knows recovery is an ongoing process. Frank Logan, thanks for the contribution. I appreciate it. Would a Fat have been part of Paul hit? Yeah, my father definitely would have been part of that hit. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about that. He would have definitely been part of that hit. Adam Rogers, again, thanks again for the donation. Did you testifying hurt Gene when he was? No, not at all. My cousin Gene had nothing to do with me testifying. George 17, if what you're doing is working for you, then good for you. Forget the negative people. Bet you're glad you turned your life around. Much love. Thanks, George. Yeah, definitely. I don't try to let the negativity get to me. When I first started in this business, it used to bother me, people talking bad about me and, it hurt my feelings. But, like now it's, that's who they are and they're going to keep doing it, so, God bless them. John, Anthony, have you seen Witness the Mob movie? I think I did see it. G-Man 480, did you ever interact with any Zips? That's a little racist, but yes, I have. A Zip is someone from Italy, and I have over the years, I interacted with many people that came from Italy. Kurt, Trump 2024 ever had any dealings with Donald? I know you couldn't get anything done in the tallest state without the mafia. No, I never. I mean, I had two encounters with Donald Trump throughout the years. One was in a Broadway theater in the '90s. I was at a Miss Saigon with my wife and my friend Stevie and his wife Joyce, and he actually sat right across the aisle from us with his daughter and his son, and his daughter actually sat on his lap the whole day. It was really kind of cute. His daughter they were kids. And we saw Miss Saigon. And another time I interacted with him was we were walking into a fight together in Atlantic City. And we actually just by coincidence converged into the door together. And actually Marla Maples, that was his wife at the time. Her and I were actually rubbing shoulders. And I said, hey, Marla, how you doing? So I have had two encounters with the Trumpster. If you're enjoying my show, please join my Patreon, ask your questions live. And please join my Patreon at reformgangsters.com. Daniel Rodriguez, did I know Al Diaco? No, I mean, yeah, I knew little Al Diaco. I even had to sit down with him once. Yeah, I knew him. He was from my neighborhood. He was always in Ozone Park. Ethan Patrick, Anthony, how come they started you out running a gambling spot in the Bronx and not those? Because that's where the crap game was. The crap game was located in the Bronx because there was a lot of money up there, a lot of people up there, and the Genovese crew that we were partners with came from Gun Hill Road. That was their spot. Mike J, hello, Anthony. Much respect from New Hampshire. Hey, Mike, nice to meet you. Anthony Camino, do you know Richie Logan from what? Did I know Richie Logan? I knew Richie Logan great. I was in jail with his brother in Art to Kill in 1979. I knew Richie good. I hung out with him in his limousine all the time. He used to drive around in a black limo. I know Richie Logan good. And his brother who passed away. Yep. That name brings back some memories, Richie Logan. Hey, Anthony Scalarella. Hey, Anthony, sending love from Buffalo, New York. We know Fat Andy knew the Buffalo crime family, but did you guys ever do a lot of business? I wouldn't say we did a lot of business with them. I think we were more social with them. Joe Tadera was very good friends of ours, and his son, Joe Jr., they were always in the restaurant we had in Miami. He was a snowbird, Joe Tadera. He had a condo on the beach with his girlfriend. So he was in Florida mostly all winter. But who could blame him getting out of Buffalo with all that snow? He had a lot of money. A lot of money. They had that town on lockdown. That was their city, Buffalo. They ran it. It was theirs. I don't know if my old man might have did some business with him. I don't know of it, but it was more of a social, of a friendship than a business thing. Jack Hum, who's the craziest wise guy that you ever met? My father's co-defendant, Tommy A. He was kind of crazy with it, always yelling and cursing, I'll chop your head off, and he acted crazy, So he might have been one of the craziest people I met. Not violent crazy, just crazy, like his behavior. Coop, what's your thoughts on psychedelics and/or clonidine during detox? I don't go for the psychedelics. I think, I work in a detox, and this is only my own personal opinion. Some people need medication, some people don't. I think it's all the kids today are over medicated. I don't believe in all this Subutex and all this. I just think the best way to recover is total abstinence, unless you need psych meds. I mean, some people need meds, but I think it's a little overdone. That's just my opinion. I think if you're on sub maintenance, you're not clean. So if you go to an NNA meeting, you shouldn't pick up a key tag because you're not clean. But they think people that are on sub maintenance think they are clean, but us old timers don't believe that. Thanks, DVE 8356 for the donation. I appreciate it. I find quitting drinking leaves me with loads of spare time and associated boredom. How did I pick up those voids? Meetings. I talk 12-step programs. They work. It works for me. It works for millions of people around the world. Go to a 12-step program. Go to AA. Go to NA. Go in there. Raise your hand. Introduce yourself. I know it's scary to do that, but just raise your hand. Tell them, I'm here for help. And people are going to come to you. People are going to reach out to you because that's how they stay clean and sober. Go to meetings. Make new friends. There's a lot of activities. Listen, I'm going to Washington, D.C. the end of August to the Narcotics Anonymous World Convention. There's going to be 30,000 people there from around the world. 30,000 recovering addicts are going to descend on Washington, D.C. in August for the Narcotics Anonymous World Convention. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait to go. There's a lot of things to do in recovery. You put the drugs down, there's a void. Definitely there's a void. And the only way to fill that void up is to make meetings, make new friends, and work steps. Get a little spirituality in your life. There's no reason for you to be home. So you have spare time, go to a meeting. They're only an hour. Go online. It's very easy to find meetings today. Just go online and find a meeting. Type in aa.org or na.org, and you're going to find a meeting. Was Benny Squint the real boss? No, I don't. I don't know. Some say he was. I don't really know. I don't really have an answer to that. I think he was just an acting boss. Scott K. Do you have to be picky with your? You have to be picky with your sponsee, because honestly, that would be pretty cool to have you as a sponsor. Well, I don't have to be picky with my sponsees. When someone asks me to sponsor them, there's a couple of things I ask of them to see if they're serious, because believe me, throughout the years, a lot of people asked me to sponsor them, and a lot of people never called me. They took my number, and they never called me. So I'm not picky, but I'm picky to a point that if you're not serious, I'm not going to sponsor you, because this is life and death. So you have to be serious. Luciano, thanks for the donation. I appreciate it. How many total families are there? I've read between 25 to 27. You never hear stories about Seattle, Colorado, or Dallas. I don't know about those cities. Honestly, I never heard of families in there. I heard of Kansas, Cleveland, Chicago, Boston, Pittston, Buffalo, LA, New Orleans, Tampa, Florida. Who knows? At one time there might have been 25 to 27 families, but no more today. Today, a lot of families are gone. There's some cities that don't even have mob guys in them anymore. They're a thing of the past. Another donation from Adam Rogers. Thanks. Sal got killed in Montreal. They're in big war. Yep, they killed his whole family. Jacqueline Moore. Thanks for the donation. She enjoys the show. Thank you, Jacqueline. I appreciate that. The real 78 BK. Don't understand that a man in the mob can kill 20 plus people, but scared to go to jail for it. I don't think people are scared to go to jail. I mean, I wasn't scared to go to jail. I just wasn't willing anymore to spend the rest of my life in jail for the mafia. Jail never scared me. I just didn't have the willingness anymore to do more time, but being in jail never scared me. So, but I can't talk for other people. I know people that didn't even get arrested that rang the FBI's bell. They must have been scared of something. I don't know, maybe scared of getting killed or scared of, getting a lot of time. But, I can only speak for myself, and I don't need to disrespect anybody else's behaviors or anything. But if I wasn't facing life, if I could have got a plea of 10 years, even maybe 15 years, I probably wouldn't have cooperated. I would have took the plea. Like I asked from the beginning when I was first arrested for the murder in the attorney room, like I told Joseph Carrazza, the attorney for my co-defendants, that I'm willing to take a plea right now. I'll take 10 years right now off the rip. And he said, what do you just like going to jail? And I said, no. I said, this ain't no bullshit bookmaker case. This is a murder. This is lights out for me. So if I was able to take a plea, I would have took a plea and I would have never cooperated, because doing 10 years, I was willing to do that, but I wasn't willing to give my life away. Up for it for them? No. But it had nothing to do with fear. Alex J.A. 111. Did you know Bobby I, I don't know. It's the name sounds familiar. I don't know. John, Anthony, did you know Johnny Roast Beef? No, I didn't know Johnny Roast. I don't think I knew Johnny Roast Beef. I knew a lot of guys that had meat names of food as nicknames. The real 718 BK. I don't understand that a man in the mob. Oh no, that's the same question I read. Robs, did you meet Roy DeMeo? Yes, I met Roy DeMeo many times at the Raven Night and at his bar. Yes, I did. John, Anthony, I'm a big fan watching from Scotland. You're worldwide, bro. Thank you, John. Jon, John. Thank you, Scotland. I appreciate that. Maybe one day I'll get out there to meet you all in person. Looking forward to doing a tour of the UK. King Kong, damn, I got hooked on heroin at 15. I'm now 40 years old and have 27 days clean. Congratulations, man. Hold on, hold on for the ride of your life. You're going to have a life beyond your wildest dreams. Just hold on, man. It gets better. Jason, I've been to meetings, but they feel pointless and monotoneless. That in the beginning, that's the disease talking to you, buddy. That's all the sick thinking in your brain. Just keep going. You're going to hear something one day that's going to click in your head. That's the disease. The disease don't want you at that meeting. The disease wants you miserable and using. Don't forget, that's the disease of addiction. It's cunning, baffling, and insidious. It doesn't want you in that meeting. It wants you to think that way. It wants you to feel that way. It wants you to take everybody's inventory. It wants you to cancel yourself out of those meetings. Don't do it. Just hold on. Keep going. Keep coming back. Oscar, I need help. Please help. I'm a heroin addict. All I could say is get into a detox, man. Get into a detox. Make meetings. Jason, congrats on your sobriety. Thank you. Anthony Camino again. Did you remember the card game on 126th Street in the close? Of course I did. Of course I did. Did you go to Jackie D'Amico's funeral? No, I didn't go to Jackie Knowles' funeral. Free Republic. Tony Macaroni, Tony Baloney had his misunderstanding. All right. Tree Truth. Anthony, I heard the mob was involved in selling Garbage Patch dolls and Tickled Me Elmos. What the mob was able to get early. Were you involved in the Garbage Patch? Yeah, I was. I was buying Garbage Patch dolls with credit cards and selling it. It was insane. That was insane. Back then with them Cabbage Patch dolls, they were like gold. I couldn't get enough of them. Kevin, the disease wants you alone. That's for sure, buddy. You know that. Hey, Anthony, did you know anybody from Montreal? No, I didn't know anybody. Just like I said, I knew a Hells Angels guy from Montreal. Robbie, were the Krays known by the Mafia in America? Yes, they definitely were known by the mob. As a matter of fact, the mob even went out there to try to do some stuff with them.
What did you think of Griselda?
Griselda, the show, I thought it was very good. I watched it all. I binged out yesterday on the whole 6 episodes. I thought it was really good. I was running around in Miami at that time. I remember a lot of those incidents. It's the shootout at the mall. I probably did a lot of her blow down there in the early 80s. That's when I was in Miami. That was when I was at that's probably was, when I got in trouble with this, with the stuff was in Miami because it was so cheap and so good back then. But I remember I went to the Mutiny. I went to clubs. The Forge, the Mutiny. I was in all those clubs. I never met her. I mean, I probably was in clubs when she was there, but I never, But I thought it was good. I thought she played a great part. They showed the violence. She got crazy. And she got her whole family killed. I mean, she had a tough life. I mean, she was a child prostitute. I mean, which was terrible. Her mother was pimping her out, and she was a child prostitute and married to abusive guy. She killed both her husbands. And then the cartel did a vicious thing. I liked they waited. When she went away, she did them 7 years, and they killed her kids, her 3 sons, right when she was ready to get released, just to make her hurt her. Cartel, and then she got out, and then she went back to Colombia, and then she got murdered. by the cartel. So, you know, it was another tragic story of a criminal.
How do you think Sophia did?
I thought she did great. I thought she did really good. I saw her on a talk show. She said she never smoked a cigarette. She never snorted coke. She did really good. You know, she's a beautiful woman, and they made it. You know, they made her look. You know, it was good. She did it really. Someone that only did a sitcom. I mean, she only ever did a sitcom. She never did a dramatic role like that. That was her first one. So, and she's already in her 50s. So I think she did excellent.
Just looking at the calendar, February 10th is Chinese New Year's. Any Chinese mafia stories?
No, I mean, Chinatown was connected to, you know, Little Italy. We used to go to Chinatown 5, 6 in the morning for breakfast. You know, we used to come out of an after-hour joint 7 o'clock in the morning, and I used to tell my father, where you want to go for breakfast? He used to go, let's go to 68 Mott Street. And I used to go, we're going to eat Chinese food. He goes, what is there, a law that says you got to eat eggs for breakfast? And we used to go to this little Chinese restaurant that had about 10 tables called 68 Mott Street. They didn't even have a name. That was the name of the number on the building, 68. And there was one waiter in there named Bucky. And we used to go in there, used to go, hello, Mr. Andy. Hello, Mr. Andy. And we used to eat Chinese food. It was so dirty, you couldn't even see in the window. But yeah, so, and the trick, and, you know, you know, we used to say, the Italians used to have it say, and I still say it to people that go to New York, you know, there's a trick to finding a Chinese restaurant in Chinatown in Manhattan, is before you go in the restaurant, always look in the window. And if you don't see no Chinese people eating in the restaurant, don't go in.
February is Black History Month. Did Fat Andy have any run-ins with Bumpy Johnson? Anybody in Harlem?
No, that was before our time. No, we had good relationships with African Americans. We made a lot of money with them. We were in the number business with them. Most of our runners were Black. I mean, no, we had no issues with them. We worked hand in hand with them in Jamaica, Queens, in East New York, Brooklyn, and Bronxville, Bed-Stuy. We had a very good rapport with them.
Does jail feel like Groundhog Day, like same day over and over again? Like the movie with Bill Murray?
Yeah, it's the same schedule every day. You know, different things happen. You know, some days you get visits, some days, you know, there's different stuff going on, different days, but basically the schedule is always the same. And in jail, I always say it, in jail, because of the schedule and because everything's on the hour, all the movements are on the hour, like you can't go to point A and point B, everything's a movement. Everything's on the move. They used to say on the move. So when they call on the move, that means you could go from A to B. So if you're in your unit, you want to go to the yard, you go on the move. You're in your unit, you want to go to the library, you go on the move. You got to visit, you go on the move. Everything's on the move, unless you get a pass. So the days go by fast because of that, but the years go by slow. You know, and that probably only makes sense to someone that's been incarcerated.
Ash Wednesday is also this month. Did Fat Andy get ashes, or did any mobsters, you know? No, never.
No, I know a lot of wise guys that got ashes. Jojo Carrazza used to go to church, get ashes. This guy, Mike Catalano, an old school wise guy from back in the Albert Anastasia days. He used to go to church, get ashes. I knew guys, maid guys and associates that went and get ashes. I knew maid guys and associates that went to church every Sunday, and then they killed people during the week.
Valentine's Day, the same day as Ash Wednesday. Any plans for Valentine's Day?
I'm going to be traveling to Arizona on Valentine's Day, the 14th. That's the plan right now.
February 19th is President's Day. Your favorite president?
My favorite president? Oh, now you want to get political. I'm gonna piss off a lot of people right now if I say who my favorite president is. I'm not saying it. I can't. Not that I'm not proud of him or not, but I don't want to get into that realm of I don't want to get into that political realm. I'm more conservative than most, not more conservative than most. I said I'm more conservative than liberal. So let's leave it at that. It's definitely not Joe Biden. I could tell you that much. That's for damn sure. It definitely ain't that moron. That I could say for sure. That old senile old fuck that he is. It ain't him.
As a fan, would you want Bill Belichick as the Jets head coach?
Well, he had that opportunity before he went to New England, and he fucked the Jets. If people remember back then, before he went to to New England, he was the Jets defensive coordinator for Parcells, when Parcells was the coach of the Jets many, many, many years ago. And the contract was he was supposed to become the next head coach of the Jets, and Parcells was going to be the GM. And he reneged on the Jets and bolted and broke the contract and went to New England. So no, I don't. He had his shot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't particularly care for him. For all you subscribers out there, go to our store. The link is in the description. We got some new merch. I got a new hat on right here. It's really nice hat, nice material. It's got an adjustable strap in the back. We got some shirts, new shirts, Reformed Gangster shirts, Fat Andy shirts. Of course, we have mugs. I should have one now, but I forgot it by the sink, so I don't have it. But yeah, so check out our merch. It's at a reasonable price, and order it. Order some merch.
Somebody commented or actually asked the question the other day, what's a pork store?
Oh, who asked that? Because I said the story about the machines with Vinny Gotti. A pork store is the meat. It's like a butcher shop that just sells pork products. Back then, I mean, I don't know if there really is any more pork stores like they used to. It was a butcher shop that sold all pork products, sausages, pork chops, dry salamis. It was an Italian butcher shop. We used to call them pork stores. They made all homemade sausages, fat ones, skinny ones, hot ones, sweet ones. All kinds of pork chops, pork loins, pig's feet. Back in the day, everybody ate pig ears, pig's feet. It was a pork store. It sold all pork products.
Chop any bodies up at the local pork store?
They might have. Even in The Sopranos, that's a pork store. If you see, it says pork on the front of the store. The butcher shop they hang out in, that's in The Sopranos. That's a pork store.
Did you have one that your family frequented?
Yeah, there was one. Well, just the local one in our neighborhood. There was only like one in every neighborhood. That was on 100. That was by the L. That one was on the corner. It was by the L. And then there was one down further by us, the City Line. So they were spotted all over. And then there was the butcher shops. But those were pork, and they were pork stores that they sold sandwiches. They were like Heroes, cold cut sandwiches. They sold hot lunches, pork stores. But it wasn't like a regular butcher shop where you could go in and get everything. You know what I mean? It was just like pork products and like lunch. You could get sandwiches in there.
What about when you were growing up, a bakery or a haircutting place you went to with Fat Andy?
Oh, well, I always went to Father and Sons. I mean, when I moved into Ozone Park, we went to, I don't remember where I went when I was a really little kid. I used to go with my father to East New York to his barber. But then when I got a little older, there was a barber shop on Atlantic Avenue we used to go to, and then later on that became Father and Sons they were originally first on Atlantic Avenue and Rockaway Boulevard. It was an Italian guy from Sicily and his sons, Frankie, Nino, and Tito. And then they opened up actually the first salon for males. It was called Father and Son on 101st Avenue, where unfortunately, Tito was murdered. He was the guy that shot Frankie Burke, Jimmy Burke's son. But they were all mobbed up. They were with the Gottis. And I went to Father. That's where I got my first manicure. When I was 16, my father took me for my first manicure when I went to work for him. Because I used to bite my nails. And he said it was a bad habit. And he took me for a manicure and I stopped biting my nails. And I still get manicures. I got a manicure right now.
Fat Andy parenting method worked.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah. Not every father takes their son for manicures, but especially, that was a gangster thing, manicures, I guess. Never a pedicure. He never got pedicures, my old man. Always got manicures, but never a pedicure. Not that I remember anyway. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up now. It was a pleasure coming to you live. I enjoyed the questions. And like I said, I'm almost up to 28,000 subscribers. Once again, I want to thank everybody. Once again, I want to remind everybody, please become a Patreon member. Also, check out our store. We just put up some new merchandise. Check it out. And everybody stay safe out there and enjoy the football games tomorrow. Try not to lose too much money. Bet responsibly, because I know it's very easy now to gamble because the government runs it. So they want, people that never even knew who a bookmaker was now bet. You know what I mean? So be careful. Remember what Fat Andy used to say? The bookmakers drive the Cadillacs and the gamblers drive the shit boxes. So everybody have a good night.